Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. If you hear a noise in the background, that's my Roomba. I made coffee. Again, I will start with it's delicious. 3 scoops of Tim Hortons, 1 scoop Cafe Bustelo, and then I spilled Cafe Bustelo all over the floor. So my Roomba was vacuuming it up. It is now going back to the port. It will make a bunch of noise any second, but I didn't want to be late. So there we go. There's the explanation for the upcoming vacuum cleaner noises. All right. I know Lacey Lee's been asking for this. So there you go. So again, first off, I got to recognize the chat. We got What Geeks Do Network. What Geeks Do Network made that opening John's Long Box music. I freaking love it. Thank you so much. Everybody seems to love it. Everybody seems to love it. So thank you, What Geeks Do Network. Good morning, John. Excited for Sunday comics. It's become a tradition for Sunday mornings. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I love it. I love doing Sunday comics. For those of you who don't know, don't watch all my stuff, and I don't blame you because most of it's terrible. This is my favorite thing that I do every Sunday. I wake up Sunday. I'm excited to do this, and it's all because of you guys. Because first off, you contribute, you make comments, you make me feel, good for doing it. But you came up with the idea. I forget exactly what, but doing these classic comics, like kind of in a chronological order, key issues of Marvel. It in DC, it's become like fun. I don't know. I really enjoy it. We got Lacey Lee, who's been chomping at the bit for some Doctor Strange. And what's the first thing you notice? Doctor Strange isn't on this cover, but I didn't go crazy. I'm not lying to you. So there we go. We got Marcus. Oh, here we got the vacuum cleaner going. If you could hear that, we got Marcus, my moderator with the. I was trying to think of something cool to say. Moderator with the moderator. I don't know what that means, but I don't know. I'm whatever. It's Lacey Lee. We got Zach Van Hale. Have a blessed day. Just arrived. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. And we got Pete Rock. Pete, my buddy Pete, who we became such good friends. He moved across the country to get away from me. And Zach here. I love when I go to click on something and it bumps. Okay, so that's everybody. What? 9 people. Wow. All right. So I talked over. Doctor Strange isn't on a lot of Strange Tales cover. Yes. I'll talk about that. So first off, let's talk about the comic book Strange Tales. This is a really good condition, and you can tell by this glare. And I got to figure out. Anybody have any? Forgive me for 1 second while I fix my easel. This thing broke off, and I use a paper clip to fix it. So wow, a little behind the scenes. I got to get a little pin to go in here. Right now, I'm using a paper clip. This broke off when I handle it too much. There we go. And there we go. You get to see my dirty desk. So here we go. This is Strange Tales. Let's talk a little bit. Oh, my friend Allison is in here. That's Pete's wife. Allison and I have been friends since geez, 3rd grade. It's 3rd grade. And she's like learning about new comics as we go along. She's getting into comics. So Strange Tales was it predated Marvel. So this is number 110. So it means there's 109 issues that came out before this. And only at 101, the Human Torch got half the story because this comic was broken up. It was an anthology. It was horror tales, science fiction tales, mystery tales, magic tales, whatever. It was just Strange Tales. And for the longest time, comics, for years before Fantastic Four #1, it was an anthology story, of Twilight Zone type, usually morality plays and whatever. And this was Steve Ditko's home. Steve Ditko, the creator of Spider-Man that we saw last week. And then you'll see this week one of the creators of Doctor Strange. But the tide was changing. The Fantastic Four came out, the Justice League came out, and the tastes were changing towards superheroes. So these, mystery, horror, science fiction, Outer Limits, Twilight Zone kind of stories, they were still around, but they weren't as popular. So again, Stan Lee, the marketing genius that he is, he sees which way the tide is turning, and rather than call everybody bigots and istophobes and Nazis and say you don't like horror, mystery, science fiction, Outer Limits, Twilight Zone stories, there must be something wrong with you, like what they do in modern comics. Instead, he does the logical thing and adapts to get more sales. So he turns Strange Tales, he hedges his bet. Half of it stays, anthology stories, and one half he puts the Human Torch. So the Human Torch is the star of this. Why the Human Torch? Because he was the most popular character from the Fantastic Four at the time. He has the coolest powers. He had the name recognition, believe it or not, that, you know, in the 40s. As I wipe my nose and be gross, I should have just not told you about it, but that's what I'm never been. And I will put this over here to show you the heroic tale. By the way, Pete Allison, did you get your glass in the mail? Did you get not only did you get your glass in the mail, did it arrive unbroken? Let me know. You and Haldir were the two farthest I had to mail, so let me know. All right, so back to Strange Tales. Strange Tales, the Human Torch. The first Marvel comic was called Marvel Comics. Believe it or not, it was called National. It was called National Comics, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marcus, but I think I'm saying it wrong. And oh no, it was Timely Comics, and National was DC. Timely Comics put out a comic called Marvel Comics, and it starred the original Human Torch and the Submariner. So this is the second Marvel character called the Human Torch. So the name recognition was there. He was the most popular. That was a big explanation. This is Pete Pot Pete. This comic is known for just lousy villains for the Human Torch. The Human Torch had his own rogues gallery, his own bunch of villains, and they were terrible. Paste Pot Pete, who later became the Trapster, and this is the Wizard. This is one half of the group that eventually becomes the Frightful Four. The Sandman joins, and then the fourth has always been rotating. It was originally Medusa from the Inhumans, who I was convinced, you know, she was originally, you know, a villain, and then they liked her. They folded her into the Inhumans. So Medusa actually debuted before the Inhumans. So, this says that not yet, the glasses didn't show up. Geez, now I'm starting to get nervous. It's kind of amazing how a new genre was made through the superheroes have a lot of inspiration. Yes, the Fantastic Four was a perfect mix of superhero, sci-fi, and horror, if you ask me, and, you know, and the giant monster stuff. So again, this is all the background information on this particular comic. So I think it was issue 101, the Human Torch got half the comic. So let's open it up. Again, notice there's nothing that even tells you about Doctor Strange. Why? Because I think Doctor Strange, it was like, you know, I don't think they realized what they created. Start your own electrical appliance repairing. And let's look at the indicia. Okay. 1963. Can you see that? 1963 by Vista Publications. The Human Torch first. Oh, I must tell you that I have that at 11 o'clock, I'm going to be on the Danger Room with Elon Mudd. I will post the link to that. Oh, if Marcus, if you could find Elon Mudd's Danger Room show and put a link in here for everybody, that would be great. So I will be, you know, ending like 5 minutes before 11, so I could switch over to that. So I'm going to be a guest on somebody else's show. So here we got this opening splash page. Oh, who did the cover? The cover is by Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers, and the coloring by, oh Jesus, something in my mouth, by Stan Goldberg, lettering by Artie Simek. So look at this. Plot Stan Lee, script by H.E. Huntley. I don't really know the name H.E. Huntley, but there you go. And it's not really good. These comics are kind of a chore to read. These comics were like the same quality as Hanna-Barbera. And let me make myself absolutely clear. For the most part, Hanna-Barbera cartoons stunk. You know, is Scooby-Doo Hanna-Barbera? Because I hate Scooby-Doo. It was just bad writing. I don't know about modern times, but classic Scooby-Doo was just bad writing. So here we got the Human Torch. Oh, art by Dick Ayers. Okay, so let's check it out. I'm going to go quick through the Human Torch because I know everybody wants to see Doctor Strange. So Human Torch is doing Danger Room stuff. Classic Danger Room stuff. He's training. Flame off. And he is living in Glenview, Connecticut. So this is just like, they're having their cake and eating it too. The Fantastic Four, they're in Manhattan. They're globe-trotting adventures. And then over here, the Johnny Storm and the Sue Storm, they live in nice suburban Connecticut. And it's like Archie. So it's like Archie type comics. And it's just bad writing. Just bad writing. He opens up his scrapbook and he's thinking about the Wizard. And, you know, he's thinking about all the different plots that the wizard did. The wizard is evil Reed Richards without the stretching powers. He's thinking about Reed Richards. I mean, he's thinking about the wizard, and now the wizard is in jail. The wizard is evil Reed Richards. He's super intelligent, but uses his power. And he's thinking about how the wizard made this paste gun for his buddy Paste Pot Pete, and they formed a team. So there you go. The wizard and Paste Pot Pete were, a team, and he's thinking about how the Paste Pot Pete trapped him and blah, blah, blah. What a coincidence that at that same time that he just happened to be looking at the scrapbook, Paste Pot Pete is going to break. I skipped a page. This is a remarkable condition. Silent Stranger. Here we got a text page. Notice that there's no advertisements. There's nothing on it. They did this so that this magazine would qualify as media mail, because in order to qualify as media mail, you had to have at least 2 text pages, full text, no advertisements, no pictures, no illustrations, and it will qualify as a magazine. And then you could ship these to the newsstands for a cheaper price. So they're usually hastily written, poor done. I'm not even going to go over the story because, again, I want to get to the Doctor Strange. So as coincidence has it, Paste Pot Pete is breaking the wizard out of jail. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. He used what is Paste Pot Pete's power? He has a glue gun. That's his power. I love Paste Pot Pete. He's so bad. He's good. Okay, what do we got to comment over here? It's kind of amazing how a new genre is made I already talked about that. Yep. Good morning. Hey, Jolly Green's here. Jolly Green Giant's here. So a half hour later, we got armed guards over here, Paste Pot Pete. He's got a paste gun, so he, of course, could defeat all the guards. He's shooting them. Yeah, H.E. Huntley was the writer, Ernie Hunt. Yeah, Ernie Hart. Yes. What else did he do, Marcus? What else did he do? Because I'm not too familiar with the name. And from this writing, I don't really want to know more, which is kind of mean to say. So he breaks out the wizard out of jail. And what does the wizard do? They're breaking out of jail. Extra, extra. The wizard's breaking out of jail. Johnny Storm is hanging out over here. The police come to guard him because they're like, oh yeah, he vowed he was going to come and kill you. So here's the rest of the Fantastic Four, because you gotta remind you, Johnny Storm's talking to him on the phone. They're like, Johnny, come home. We will protect you. Johnny's like, I don't need no protection. Now he goes to school, and everybody at school, they so what's going on here? Paste Pot Pete is dressed. The wizard made a suit to copy. They didn't show it. This is just like such bad storytelling. They're telling us, they're not showing us, but the wizard made a Human Torch costume and is going around committing crimes. So he's committing crimes. So everybody at school is like, Johnny Storm, I can't believe you're a heel. You're a creep. The newspapers wouldn't print it if it wasn't true. There you go. You wouldn't print it if it wasn't true. So he's like, oh, I have an idea. Dun, dun, dun. He goes to his theater class. So I love this. The wizard sitting on a floating cushion of air. Why doesn't he just patent that, sell it? It's literally just a cloud is formed and you lay on the cloud. That's how rich he is, but he has to rob banks. I mean, that's how brilliant he is. He has to rob banks. And they're just gloating in the fact that the Human Torch is being blamed for all of these crimes. So now here they are showing. So this is the wizard in a flaming suit. I love it because it even said it's asbestos. Inside the suit is asbestos. So the wizard is breathing asbestos. So 1962. So 50 years later, 2010, we find out the wizard has mesothelioma. I shouldn't laugh because in my business, there's a lot of guys who are taken out with mesothelioma. So what blue blazes, and you see this jetpack over here that simulates the torch's thrust abilities, which further proves my point that the Human Torch doesn't just have fire, he also has thrust abilities, and he's terrorizing people. And Paste Pot Pete is like, this guy's like, a good man. You're gonna scare. I could burst into flames myself. Anybody could do this. So this guy on the street bursts into flames, scares the crap out of them. He runs away because let's face it, fire would be scary. If you could beat a guy that could just burst into flames. So now the wizard, this is the wizard suit over here. He follows him in and he gets sucked into this vacuum thing. It's just these stories are not my favorite. A big hall of mirrors. Look at this elaborate trap. Just shoot him. Just freaking shoot him. Just close him down and shoot him. Paste Pot Pete is shooting paste at him. He's melting the mirrors. By the time he comes up, the flame is kind of exhausted. At this point, Johnny Storm couldn't keep the flame going for that long. They're waiting for him with hoses, big elaborate traps. And then he disappears. Why did he disappear? Because he wasn't there. It was just a big pile of, Human Torch just made this Human Torch shaped flame, and then he makes a flame lasso, which is ridiculous. And then this ring of fire traps him to the police to come in. And it's revealed that man walking down the street was really Johnny Storm in theater makeup. All the people like, we knew you weren't a heel. We knew you didn't, we knew that wasn't you. Yes, you did know. You did know. Don't pretend you didn't know. You told him that the newspaper said it was true, so it must be true. So stop being a heel. And now we have the Search the Stars. So here we have so basically, Paste Pot Pete is Captain Cold, the super gun, has superpowers. Yes, and Heat Wave. Heat Wave also has the heat gun, too. Marcus Keller, apparently he co-created the Wasp and the timely character Super Rabbit. Oh, okay. I'll give him credit for the Wasp. Wasp, I love the character of the Wasp. And the Mighty Avengers, was that the cartoon? The Mighty Avengers? That cartoon, if you're asking me, is the best portrayal of the Wasp. Vastly different from the comic book character. And normally, I'm a stickler. It's got to be like the comic book character or I get mad. That is like one of the few exceptions. Thank you, Haldir. Thank you, Haldir. A link to the Danger Room episode 3. So click on this link, and I will be there at 11 o'clock. So I'm sorry, Lacey Lee. Sounds like Piss Pot Pete. Oh my God. That's what I get for not reading the comments before I click on them. Being patient is hard. I know. Tell me about it. I can't drive anymore. I'm just like beeping at people. I'm like the worst driver now. I'm going to be kept in road rage. So this is a plot by Stan Lee, script and art by Larry Lieber, my buddy. I have his phone number, and I actually call him, and we talk on the phone a lot, and we have plans to go out to dinner. I got to do it. I'm off work right now. What am I waiting for? There you go. Just gave myself an idea. Lettering by inking by Matt Fox, who I do not know, but I really like this inking, and lettering by Artie Simek. So we got Search for Stars. So these scientists, they fly off in a spaceship. They got to beat these commies, the Russian commies and the Chinese commies, and they land on this planet. And what I like about this planet, it's kind of alien, kind of alien. So look at this, no humans. So they leave and they find this caveman guy. Look, there's humans on this planet. Look at this caveman guy. I really, really like this art team. This is Larry Lieber, Stan Lee's brother, drawing, and I already forgot the other guy's name, inking. And they're like, this planet sucks. They got cavemen on it. So rather than think it, wouldn't that be the greatest achievement known to man? You land on a planet and you find out that there are humans. Let's get out of here. We don't want to kill these savages. Let's let them evolve in peace. And the Earthlings leave in their spaceship. Just look at that. That is outstanding. This really is good. This is so good. I like the story. I like this. But I will say this, if this art wasn't that good, I probably wouldn't care about the story, because that's what comic books are, is a great blend of art and story. And the Earthling depart. They were not intelligent enough to read our thoughts. Dun, dun, dun. So they found out that they weren't primitive. They were so advanced that they have telekinesis. They could manipulate matter, and they have telepathic. So they weren't stupid. They just weren't talking and communicating because they just assumed that all human beings were like them and have brain power. So that's where we go. A little dun, dun, dun. Here's part 2 to that text story. I love these ads. 100 magic tricks. And now, Lacey Lee, contain yourself. We will get to Doctor Strange. Let's just check out the Allison, they just checked the mailbox intact. All right, you got the glasses. Nice. Now we just got to know how dear. So they were packed fine. They made it from New York to Arizona. Excellent. I was having trouble finding that link. Oh, thank you, Marcus. Okay, so this is Doctor Strange, Master of Black Magic. Story by Stan Lee, art by Steve Ditko, lettering by Terry. All right, so again, Terry, that's a name I do not recognize. So, no disrespect. So here it is. This is the original appearance of Doctor Strange. Men call him Doctor Strange. Never have you known his like. It is a great pleasure and privilege for the editors of Doctor Strange to present quietly and without fanfare the first of a new series. Okay, so I was wrong. I thought this was just a planned one-shot. First of a new series based on a different kind of superhero, Doctor Strange, Master of Black Magic. Now, apparently there was some sort of a television or radio show that Stan Lee listened to as a kid, and it had like a magician character. And it started out with a gong. It would go gong, and the show would start. So Stan Lee always said that if he was going to make a Doctor Strange movie, the first thing was going to be a gong. And I do think that gong is the inspiration for this huge amulet. And I just love this. This is just so good. Lacey Lee, contain yourself. She's dancing around. So look at this first panel over here. I want to move my coffee cup so the comic does not dip into my coffee cup. So just perfect setting over here. Look at this. I love the colors over here. The guy's in bed. No, go away, please. Just look at this. 3 panels right here. Could you see the animation? Now I'm going to, I did particularly like the Human Torch. Matter of fact, I actively dislike the Human Torch story. The tech story, it was big deal. It was they land on a planet and they find an alien lands on Earth. This is the tech story. The alien lands on Earth and he finds Earth to be a paradise because there's so many menial, mindless jobs that he could just do. So that's it. They find a race of workers from outer space that take over Earth. They're taking our jobs. Okay, so I think Ditko brought the Doctor Strange story done to Stan. Wow, that would be cool. That I got to look that up, and that's probably true. That sounds like something that Ditko would do. If I recall, this was a test run. The next issue, it says no because he was so giving us. Yeah, I don't think Doctor Strange is even in the next issue. I think like if that makes sense, what Marcus just said, that Ditko brought this whole cloth to Stan Lee. And then next issue, there was no Doctor Strange story because I guess they were waiting on a reception. And then Doctor Strange became co-sharer. So there was one Human Torch story, one Doctor Strange story, and then like either a reprint or original bad science fiction story. And then later on, Doctor Strange, they took the Human Torch out and they gave it to Nick Fury. So it became Nick Fury and Doctor Strange for the rest of the run. So look at this animation over here. You could tell what's going on. You could tell this guy's having bad dreams. He wakes up and starts smoking. Excellent storytelling. Now he goes to the next morning on a quiet street in New York, colorful Greenwich Village. I'm here to see Doctor Strange knows all enter. So here is the first appearance of Wong. So here we go. This guy's checking out Doctor Strange's Wong right here. And look at that. He doesn't even have a face. It's just like a yellow shape. I meant the next time he shows up. Okay. So look at this house. I love this. The wisping vapors, just look at this alien house. I love this. The book on the, it's like an altar. Suddenly, I just realized I'm reading this. I had to come. I'm in trouble. Naturally, all who come to me are speak. In my dreams, every night I have the same dream over and over. It's terrible. I can't stand it. Continue. Look at this. Just great storytelling. Wongers, yes. Wong. So Wong is just his servant. At this point, he's the guy who answers the door. He makes the tea. He makes the bed. He does the laundry. He cooks. That's all he does originally. That's all he does originally. So look at this. So at night, he has this dream that this chained cloaked figure just haunts his dream, and it just menaces him to the point where he can't sleep. I love this glove over here. Just as an aside, John Byrne made a series. I forget what it was called, but it had Doctor Strange. So what he said, like, this is the first appearance of Doctor Strange. He's already the master of black magic. So he already existed. He was already famous enough that people went and looked for him. So he was like, he's got to have stories before his first appearance. So John Byrne made a series of Doctor Strange comics before this appearance, if that makes sense. So he made prequels to this. And, he had these gloves, this amulet. Notice he has no cape right over here. So that's pretty, I really do like that. I love when he added to the mythos. He didn't change the mythos, and he didn't, override the mythos. He just added to it. I have no problems when creators add to the mythos rather than change it, edit it, or fix it for a modern audience. So now he's like, okay, I'm going to do this tonight. I will enter your dream. So he tells the guy to go home, go to sleep. But it's time for me to visit the master. So I'm going to go, for whom all my powers stem. So he sits down, and what does he do? He releases this astral form. Look at that. And it just flies across the planet at the speed of thought. How different and how cool is this? Till finally, in a hidden temple somewhere in the remote vastness of Asia, also keep in mind that the shadow went to Tibet and learned the secrets of Tibetan Lamaism. Now, when we hear the word Lama, we think of the animal from Peru, right? Is it the Peru in the Andes Mountains, the llama? But yeah, it also means like a mystic monk, so and that was like big in the 20s and 30s. And if you remember, if you follow Raiders of the Lost Ark, it was set in the 40s. In the 40s, it was all the Holy Grail, the mysticism and stuff. And then the Temple of Doom was set in the 30s. In the 30s, they went into the East and and with evil monks. And then the third one was back in the 40s with more mysticism of holy relics. And then the 50s, what was the trope then? Communism and space aliens, and then they added that extra dimensional twist. But so if they I just love that. So when it was set in the 30s, they used the tropes of the 30s. When it's set in the 40s, they used the tropes of the 40s. But anyway, this trope is a little old at this point because this is the early 60s, but it's Tibetan Lamaism. So he goes to the ancient one. So this is the ancient one. Look how the ancient one looks exactly like the woman in the movie. Exactly like the woman in the movie. That just drove me nuts. What was that woman's name? I do like that actress. Oh, Marcus, yes. Doctor Strange was in Strange Tales 110, but not in 112 and 113. Okay, so it took a couple of it took a couple of issues to so that just, to me, that just proves Marcus's point that Steve Ditko drew this probably like on his own, to test it out. So once it got approved, it had to because there's a couple of months leeway. This is good. Start drawing it. It took a couple of months for it to catch up and get back into the book. So anybody in the chat could remind me the name of the woman who played the ancient one? So here he is. He's a Tibetan monk, and they changed a Chinese guy, leader of a group in Nepal. Why? To please the Chinese. That was literally why they did that in the Marvel movies. They made it so I think it's funny. And then they blamed it on diversity, but they already had an Asian character, the ancient one. They turned it into a woman, and called it diverse when it really was, they didn't want the Chinese government to get mad that they had like basically a Chinese character that was independent from China and leader of a powerful group. The movie, love it and hate it at the same time. I love it more than I hate it. I thought they did a really good job. The first one, the second one was just off. The second one was barely a movie. So now he's talking to the ancient one. Why? To introduce us to the ancient one. So he talks to him and he says, "Don't be worried. You're going to go into this guy's dream. Don't forget your amulet." Ancient master, very, very wise, very mystical, very doesn't tell you anything. Tilda Swinton, that's her name. It was driving me crazy. I do like her. I think she's a good actress. She plays, when you look like that, you play quirky roles. So now this guy's going to go to sleep. Doctor Strange is going to sit here, and I love this pink. So Doctor Strange releases. I'm sorry, guys. A sneeze took up on me. I'm being attacked by psychic forces. Yes, because China doesn't recognize Tibet as its own place. Yes, that's the sole reason why they put Tilda Swinton in. I love all these actors and actresses pretended to be so diverse, everything like that. When Tilda Swinton took $1 million paycheck basically to please people that run concentration camps. They're all hypocrites. I'm not a fan of actors. I think they are egotistical psychopaths. So here Doctor Strange is sitting down. I love the blue to signify that, and here is the dream. And I love this. I just love this panel. So Doctor Strange releases his astral form directly into the victim's dream over here. Look at that panel and tell me this isn't a masterpiece right here. Look at this panel. Look at that. And this is all Steve Ditko, you know, just I don't know. I could stare at that panel forever. That I would love. Matter of fact, I might do it. I might. Anybody know how I could take this panel and blow it up and then print it out? I would love to do that. In this panel over here, this death figure, this guy's moaning, "Stay away!" And then Doctor Strange addresses the figure in the dream. "You, whoever you are, why do you torment?" He knows the reason why. "I am the symbol of evil, the evil he has done, so that I am chained. If you do not believe me, ask Mr. Krang." That's his name. He goes, "Suddenly another form approaches, far more menacing. So it is Doctor Strange. You have entered the dream dimension. You have entered the dimension of dreams for the last time. Never again shall you thwart me." Okay, Nightmare, my ancient foe. So they're already hinting that Doctor Strange has a long and storied career. This isn't the first time that he meets this demonic-looking figure in the dream dimension. Let's see the comments. Disney buying Marvel and the rights to movies ultimately had more downside than upside. Um, I that is a whole topic in itself. I don't think Disney buying it was, but Disney getting taken over by DEI is what is, you know, Disney was doing fine. Disney was making great movies up, you know, in the 80s, 90s. Disney was, you know, making some of the best entertainment in the world. And it just seems like this whole, I'm going to blame the Obama administration with this ESG funds and DEI initiatives. That's what destroyed not just Disney, but everything. I'm going to say Disney just followed along with you know, the Manchurian Candidate over here. Not a fan of Obama. They didn't let BC play him right. He could have. He was American. Oh, Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Well, Snark. There it is. Got to go, but have a blessed day. Oh, Zarkon's leaving. Zactan's leaving. I need to wipe my hands because I don't want, you know, I had a drop of coffee on my hand. I didn't want that to get into the comic. So he goes, "If you don't believe me, ask." Oh no, I mean Mr. Krang. He goes, he mentioned Mr. Krang, so that's where it's all about. There, Doctor Strange. He must have heard it. He's in a trance, helpless. He must be allowed to live with what he's learned. So this is the victim of the dream. He goes, "Doctor Strange, you may witness your own destruction as your mortal body is unprotected. Your life is about to be snuffed out." So they're establishing that this isn't just like a projection of a thought. This is like Doctor Strange's soul has left his body and is in his dream. So his body is there defenseless. And Doctor Strange, nothing can save you. So he can't leave because Nightmare is using his power to keep Doctor Strange in the dream dimension while his body is suffering. Why? I don't know if they explained why. But he's just like, oh no, he knows about Mr. Krang. So now he calls out to the Master. I thought this was a tactical error. In the very first appearance of Doctor Strange, he's calling for help. "Help me, help me," you know. And so the Master calls. And the Ancient One concentrates. This is just like I thought in the very first episode of The Next Generation, Jean-Luc Picard surrenders. This is the very first appearance of Doctor Strange. He's calling out for help. I just thought that was a tactical error. So the Ancient One uses his power and he opens the Eye of Agamotto, and it opens up. I just love how it looks like brass. It opens up and it just shoots this light out that paralyzes him, and he gets stunned. Because he's stunned, his dream dimension, whatever, and then he's able to flee, and he gets into the body. And he wakes up and he's like, "I'll tell the truth." So it turns out that this man was a hitman. He killed Mr. Craig and he's feeling guilty for it. Because of the guilt, it allowed Nightmare to enter into his dreams. And why? We don't know. It's a mystery. You know, later on we find out that Nightmare is like a psychic, like a remora, a creature that just absorbs people's like emotions and everything like that. This is great artwork. First time seeing this. My comic said, yeah, this is literally the first appearance of Doctor Strange. It is a masterpiece. And these Doctor Strange comics are the early Ditko ones. Oh my God, they are so good. They're some of the best. And I'm, you know, Get a collection and read these all one after another. It becomes one gigantic epic, where Doctor Strange battles eternity, the sum total of all existence in the universe. They're throwing planets at each other. It's like the greatest cosmic mystical story ever. And I have to, laugh because of these stories. So yeah, because I was a fool to come to you. I didn't suspect my dreams the cause of the many men I've ruined in business. So Johnny Craig was the last one of them. I robbed him, but he couldn't prove it. Now I'll confess. He goes, confessing is the only way you'll ever sleep again. Lacey Lee agrees with me. By the way, the story is 5 pages. Yes, it's really short. It's really short. And look at all of this goodness in this. And because it's only 5 pages, we will go back and I was kind of rushing because I thought I wasn't gonna get it all in, but so we'll go back and check this out because I still have some time. I'm gonna stop around 10 to 11 to 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 get to this. So if you click on this, I'll be on somebody else's channel, Elon Mudd, and I forget the other guy. It's kind of goofy, it'll be lighthearted. Of course, I'm going to be pushing my comic, pushing my glass, Heroic Tales, with the symbol of the patriarch on it, and Allison and Pete confirmed to get it. I sold a few to people here in New York that I literally put it in their hand. Allison and Pete and Haldia were the first people I actually mailed it to, so I was a little nervous. Ditko is the master of the 9-panel grid. Yeah. I agree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Well, here's the 10-panel grid over here. So later on, he's the master of black magic. Later on he becomes the sorcerer supreme, and he gets an upgrade. He gets a different amulet, so this is the amulet of Agamotto. He gets a different one called the Eye of Agamotto, and he gets the red cape. Notice he doesn't have any cape here. But he gets a blue cape for a while, and then they turn it into a red cape. I don't know why. Like, there must be an artistic reason. Does the blue cape on the blue costume, not stand him out? Because, Superman has blue and red, Thor has blue and red, and Doctor Strange becomes blue and red. I think, is it to recognize him as a superhero? Is there some sort of psychological reason for a red cape? To the point in my V&V, my Villains Vigilante role-playing game, there was a government project to discover the secret of superpowers and make their own superheroes, and it was called Project Red Cape. Master of the Mystic Arts, First Dreary. I just love these panels. Look at this panel. Again, the storytelling. I'm not going to mention names, but I bought last night I was reading some crowdfunded comics that I got by an amateur but they're cranking out product. I just got 6 issues in one shot, and while I appreciate the enthusiasm, I appreciate the output, the comic is terrible. It's fan fiction without an editor, just thrown into a comic book, and I can't imagine they're making any money. I can only imagine that the spouse is wealthy and is funding this, because I'm not getting any more. It really, the storytelling sucked. I don't know what's going on. I'm 3 issues in, and I just know that it's a hero who fights monsters. And the hero is in love with the female hero is in love with the male hero, but they can't get together. Something happened in their past, but the storytelling, like what they need, stop concentrating on output and concentrating on putting out good quality, good storytelling that makes sense, and then the output will come over time. But what good is rushed crap? But I digress. So look at this again. Just look at these panels. Just amazing. Every panel is a masterpiece. Every panel. I love this. Oh, so I was telling a story, and I distracted myself twice, and I didn't finish it. So Steve Ditko started to get fan mail from college students. Oh, I'm not telling you the title. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not here. I'm just saying bragging about putting out a lot of product. July's putting out a lot of product, but it's just not that good. it's not that good. He's the busted EVS Ethan Van Sciver for taking so long in between. But when the comics come out, they're excellent. Like Ethan Van Sciver, don't like Ethan. You have to admit the comics are good. Like Eric July, don't like Eric July. The comics aren't that good. So bragging about production is not an end all be all of an argument. This person who's a tiny creator, so I don't want to hurt feelings, but it's just not that good. Even though the products come out like you get the comics like within 3 months, 3 weeks of the Kickstarter finishing, but they're not that good. I am so tempted to just be like, talk to him like off camera, like, this is what you got to do. You got to put out an issue number 1 that's clear, concise, and fills you in on all the gaps, because it's just so bad. So please, by all means, when my comic book comes out, please tell me if you followed the story. If you are confused at any point during my comic, I want to know, because that means I didn't do my job. So yeah, I don't want to hop on that. And at that, let Marcus or Helder, if you could put in a link to my Substack, get people to join my writing list. But look at all of these panels. Steve Ditko is a master storyteller. I haven't read this comic in years, and I'm looking through the panels, and it tells me everything. You guys, are anybody in the chat confused by the story? Like, I bet you I could just get one of my friends who's not into comic books, and just point to each panel, and they could kind of tell me what's going on. Oh, Tessa is a nerd is a new name. I've seen you before, Tessa. That Ditko work is amazing. Swoot. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Sign up. There you go, Haldia. Thank you. This is my Heroic Tales newsletter. I won't spam you. It's just so I could, keep you up to date on the launch of my comic, which there you go. We both got it. We got both my moderators. Thank you. And then of course I clicked them both off. There you go. So I'll keep you updated for my comic book launch. And again, if you are confused in the slightest, I want to know. I want to know, because that means I didn't do my job. I hate Image Comics was the worst. Image Comics was the worst. I would read an Image comic. I'm like, am I missing this? What the F is going on? Like the comic that I'm talking about, there's like no continuity between the panels. I don't know what's going on. There's subtle things like over here. We got the Ancient One over here. We got Doctor Strange over here. The next panel, it's the same. You could invert them, but then we'd see their backs. That is just like a logical, progression of you got to treat it like a movie. Like this, we got Doctor Strange over here. We got the guy laying in the bed over here. When we see this, they're still over here. Doctor Strange is over here. It's just classic animation that just goes seamlessly. And I talked about this, the gutters, the gutters are breaks in the cell animation. Right at this point, when our eye hits this, we don't even think about it. But good storytelling, our brain fills in the details. Now, I love this. Doctor Strange is over here. The hooded figure is over here. The victim is over here, who turns out to be the criminal. And we take this whole in our brain, we go like this. So Doctor Strange is over here, and we know that the shadow figure is over here, and this guy is sneaking up behind. Do you guys get this? And then we close up on the this is Nightmare, the demonic figure that controls our dreams, and then boom, we're back to the same configuration of Doctor Strange. Nothing is confusing our brain. This is flawless. And he gets up over here. His eyes are looking at Doctor Strange, who's still in the same perfect. This is the kind of stuff you need to keep in mind when you're writing. And also when you're, it's funny because when I give my scripts to Renzo Rodriguez, my artist, I don't even tell, I describe the panels, but I don't describe the orientation. He just knows it. He just knows it. He's a comic book artist who understands you got to keep continuity. Continuity isn't just like, oh, Doctor Strange has a red cape. Wong is this. The continuity is also continuity of the art, and then we still have the same continuity of even in the dream. So this is like two images in the sleeper over here, Doctor Strange over here, and we got Doctor Strange over here. And look, Nightmare is still, we established this is all just excellent storytelling. It's flawless. Our brain is not confused. And again, this amateur comic that keeps coming out, this panel. In the panel, they'll have the woman over here and then the man over here. And the next panel, for no reason, they're inverted, and then they're back. And it's one. If you want to invert them, here's their face. Here's their face. You invert them, then we should see their backs in the next panel, unless there's a break of like a whole nother scene. And then when we get back, there was time for them to change. But the next panel over, you can't do stuff. It causes confusion and it breaks the immersion of the storytelling. And that I get the feeling that the woman who makes these comics didn't grow up reading comics. They didn't grow up reading, and I don't want to name names. I'm not here to hurt people's, but look at this. Look at this. We got this. We focus in the eye. The eye opens up. He's and again, Doctor Strange is still over here. This guy's over here. Nothing changed. The room isn't big enough for them to invert. And if they did invert, again, we would see the other side of Doctor. We would see his back. Just classic stuff that Steve Ditko understood. Steve Ditko knew this stuff. And then we got, I just love this pink for his spirit flag. The only error that I could think of is that Doctor Strange, Daddy, help me. Daddy, help me. He already, it's already established that he's the master of mystic arts, that he defeated Nightmare again. He has a reputation that at this point, people are seeking him out. But Daddy, help me. And then look at the eyes. Dr. Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, I think they were committed to making Doctor Strange Asian, but it's 1962, so they kind of hedged their bets. Like, is he Asian? Is he white? We don't know. You can make an argument for either one. And, he became a white guy. That trope, the stranger in a strange land kind of thing. So there you go. This is just excellent. Here we got boys, men, Mike Marvel over here. And I love showing all of it. I mean, even show the back cover. So this is the whole Doctor Strange 110. And look, it's still glossy. This is the only flaw up here, this little chip in the corner. I'm really proud of this comic. I'm glad that I got it. I think I have Strange Tales from 100 to the end of the run. I forget what issue number it ends, but the Tales to Astonish is the one that I have the most holes in. I got to concentrate on filling in Tales to Astonish. So I'm pretty much done talking about this. Lacey Lee's been chomping at the bit to see this. This is phenomenal. I cannot recommend enough to get like a collection of the Strange Tales, Doctor Strange. If you can buy the comic books, even better. But I'm sure they have a collection. You could look it up, Strange Tales, Doctor Strange collections, and it'll tell the issues. If it says starting at Strange Tales 110, then you're getting from the beginning. But these are great. Maybe I'll come back and I'll show my favorite Doctor Strange story of all time, the Haunted House. Oh my God, do I love that story. I love that story. Albert Dorn on the back cover. That's the artist who does this. Yeah, because he's not credited. He's not credited. Oh, right. Albert Dorn down here. So he drew this. Cool. Thank you. It's probably the greatest moneymaker in the history of commercial art at the height. Okay. So he's searching for people who like to draw. Okay. I've seen this a million times and I never read it. I never noticed that. I love this comic. Anything anybody want to say? Any comments? If not, I'm going to shut it down and get ready for my talk on Danger Room. And I hope you guys go there. Elon Mudd, he's been on my channel. He's got a comic book called The Plunger, which sounds like it's going to be pretty funny. It's a goof on the Punisher. So, okay, here's a link to the Danger Room. Thank you for throwing that in. Click on that, and in 10 minutes I'll be over there. So I'm going to get going. I got 10 minutes to drink another cup of coffee, get my heart racing with some Cafe Bustelo, and get going. And in the meantime, comment on this when it goes live. When I'm done, and you could comment on the video. Tell me what you want to do for next week. What Sunday comics for next week? Okay. I have a couple of ideas, but I don't want to commit to it. But I do want to do a classic, important early Marvel comic. So I'm trying to think what would be next in progression. Marcus, you know your comic book history. What do you think would be a logical next comic to show? All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Oh, what Geek Suit? I'm still thanking you for that great opening intro, which you know what I will show as an outro. So I'm gonna get going because I really want to get my coffee ready, go to the bathroom, and do all the. Why am I even telling you about going to the bathroom? But that's me for you. But here you go. Here's the outro.